Let's wait for other also. Let's Praveen, Prashant, and let them join.
And
Let's wait for a couple of minutes, then we'll start our session.
so, Gautam Prashant is not joining for today. We can continue.
Okay, then we will start our session. So yesterday we were discussing about the invoice journal. Okay, so we have seen the global invoice journal and invoice journal. Other than that, we have seen a simple payment, vendor payment journal, and we have seen the complete purchase order flow once again. Okay, so today I will show you another way of doing the invoice. So there will be a three part of invoice. One is the invoice register, invoice pool, and invoice approval approved invoice. Okay, so these three conceptual posting of invoices, where there will be a maker is different and checker is the different. So the maker, what he will do, he will select the vendor and he will update the invoice number and amount, and the approval person uh, will update the expense account during the posting of the invoice. Okay, so to see this complete cycle, so there are some prerequisites which we need to update in the posting profile. So for that, first what we need to do, first we will go to the accounts payable. Okay, under accounts payable, under setup, we have vendor posting profile. Okay, so this is the posting profile where your vendor main account will be picked up. Like for example, if you select the vendor has example ME office supplier. Okay, so for that vendor, what main account has been mapped, so that main account is picked from here vendor posting profile. Okay, so at here you can see it is mapped with uh, based on groups, based on groups and all. Okay, so they have created individual different types of posting profile. So if it is any duplicate value is there, system will not allow you. That is the new feature which is in Dynamics. If the same group or same vendor is adding in another posting profile, it will block you that posting profile. It should be a unique based on the group. Okay, now at here you can see in gen testing, this is the vendor group. Okay, in this particular vendor group, we have set up with different groups and local and all. Okay, so if you see on all, we have mapped two different accounts. One is with the arrival account, okay, which is nothing but 20013, which is nothing but the invoice pending approval. Okay, and the second account is offset account, that is accounts payable offset invoicing. So we need to map these two fields. One is arrival, another one is offset account. So after mapping these two main accounts for this particular field, then our invoice approval, invoice register, invoice pool is ready for use. Okay, so after updating this posting profile, then we will go to the accounts payable, invoices. We will have invoice register. Okay, so in this particular invoice register, the finance user, I mean in finance there may be a two different user roles will be there. One is junior finance user, another one is senior user, or you can say the manager. Okay, the two senior and junior resources will create this particular invoice register, and they will post this particular transaction. It will be reflected in invoice pool, and from invoice pool the manager will pick it up and update the actual expenditure account. Okay, now we will see how this process will work. So at here I am creating a new invoice register. So at here when I click on new, so at here I need to select the invoice register name, so journal name. So this particular invoice register journal name will have the value have, I mean journal type as invoice register only. Okay, so at here there will be two journal names and two posting profile, I mean two ledger account which need to be mapped. One is for arrival, another one is offset account. Okay, so this particular invoice register name, journal name will be invoice register only. So at here I will go to the lines. Okay, so at here you will select the vendor, like for example at here I am selecting the AXE123. Okay, so after selecting this particular vendor, the vendor name information will be populated over here. Okay, and you will give the invoice number or invoice date. So at here I am giving the invoice date as yesterday's date, and I am giving the invoice number as INV001. Okay, and you can mention the expenses like commission expenses per month of yeah. Okay, I'm giving some random description, and at here you will update the expense amount. Like for example the expense amount is 15,000. Okay, so after updating this information, let me remove tax. Okay, so after updating this information, the finance controller will post this particular transaction. So at here you can see if I try to post this particular transaction, I will receive a error message because this approved by name is there, right? This is the name by default. Whoever the user is there, that username will come populate over here. Okay, so currently why my name is not populating over here is because the person is not mapped with my user. So when I say the person, let me open in another tab. Let me show you that. So in system administration we have users. Okay, so this is the user list of all which is linked over here. So at here my person is mapped, but this particular person is related to different department. Okay, so at here let me select this one, and now you can see this record has been ready. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to click on post. So once we post this particular transaction, from register it will move to the pool, invoice pool. Okay, any doubts? Let me re-explain from the beginning. So in invoice register we have two major setups. One is the journal name. So one journal name will be created during the invoice register, and the second journal name will be created during the invoice approval journal. Okay, So the first invoice register, we will create a journal name, and the journal type will be the invoice register for this particular journal. And after that we will go to the lines. In lines we will update the information by selecting the vendor, and we will give the invoice number, invoice date and description and the amount. Okay, after updating this information we will click on post. After validating we will click on post. Okay, so at here I am clicking on post. Let's see the error. Okay, so you can see it here what this particular error is giving. For this particular vendor we have already used INV001 on so and so date, so the invoice number should be unique. Okay, even though if it is manually entering the text value, but it should be a unique. So it was giving that particular error message. So what we need to do, let me modify the invoice number, let me put -1. Okay, now let me click on post again. Yeah, so the invoice register has been posted. So once the invoice register has been posted, okay, you can see the voucher. So the voucher will show that my accounts payable, offset account and invoice approval. So these are the temporary accounts which we have mapped during our posting profile. That is there, right? Vendor posting profile, we have mapped two accounts. One is arrival, another one is offset account. So initially when you book the invoice register, it will hit your arrival account and as well as offset account. Okay, so once this is done, okay, it means that you have already booked the invoice register. So once you have booked the invoice register, this record will be moved to invoice pool. So let me show you that. So for that again I will navigate to the accounts payable, invoice pool. So invoice pool is nothing but it's a temporary data where temporarily it is parked that invoice. Okay, now this is the temporary data table where you can see all the invoice register, whatever you have registered it will be shown over here, and it is pending for posting of the actual invoice. Okay, now at here you can see on we have posted one invoice that is on 126. Okay, this is the invoice date, this is the invoice number, this is the amount and this is the description. Okay, now this particular transaction is still it is in uh, staging data table. Staging data in the sense, or you can say temporary table, where temporarily it has been created that record and it is on hold and it is not yet 100% invoiced. Okay, now we need to book the actual invoice. So when we book the actual invoice, then only my vendor will be credited and my actual expense will be debited. So to book the actual invoices, so for what we have done it, we have booked the invoice register where the junior resources will be created this particular record and he will post that particular transaction. It will go to the staging table. From staging table, the approval person will pick and post the transaction. Now we will navigate to the accounts payable, invoices. We have invoice approval. So this is the place where the senior manager or finance manager will come over here. He will create a new record. Okay, at here he will select up AP invoice approval. At here the journal name you can create your own. Okay, this particular invoice journal approval name will be, the type will be approver. Okay, approval. And at here you will go to the lines. In lines, now already the record has been created by the entry level finance user. Now what we need to do over here, we need to click on find voucher. So when you click on find voucher, it will display all the vouchers which is already created and posted by the junior user during invoice register time. Now at here, let me filter that particular voucher, that is commission expenses. This I have selected it, and you will click on select. Once you click on select the list of voucher, it will move to the list of vouchers selected, and you will click on OK. So once you click on OK, this particular line will be added to the approved invoice approval. You can see it has been added to the vendor invoice approval journal, that particular line. Now at here, if I scroll down, now you can see we have, let me scroll this one. Okay, so if you see over here at down, we have 4 lines. Okay, the first line is blank, there is no ledger account has been mapped. Okay, and the second line is the offset account, okay, which we have mapped in the vendor posting profile. And the third line is nothing but our accounts payable, that is our core vendor account. And the last line is nothing but the arrival account which we have mapped. So now at here in this particular stage, the invoice register entry what we have posted, that accounting entry has been reversed. Now you can see previously my arrival account is debited, now it is credited. My my offset account previously it is get debited, now it is credited. My arrival account previously it is credited, now it is debited. Okay, now at here in this particular expense account, I will select the respective expense account, like for example commission expenses. Okay, after selecting the commission expenses, I will post the transaction. Okay, this is the budget related error. We will see more in detail of this particular budget issues. Okay, now this particular transaction invoice has been posted. Okay, and if you want to view the voucher, one minute. You can see now this is the actual voucher which is previously booked. Okay, now at here during our invoice register, so what happened, my offset account is getting created and my arrival account got debited. Sorry, let me show you. these last two lines are there, right? So this is the entry which has been booked. 1 minute, I will show you from the offset account side itself. 1 minute. Accounts payable, invoice register. Okay, so if you see the invoice registered during the invoice register time, let me make you clear more. Okay, now you can see the highlighted in yellow color, the accounts payable offset invoice pending for approval. So this is my offset account is getting created, and my invoice pending approval, which is arrival account, which is debited. Okay, so during the invoice time, so this is my vendor. Okay, this is my actual expenses, and this is the reversal of the invoice register. Okay, so this is the actual entry which is posting now the actually if you see, my commission expenses will be debited and my vendor balance will be created. So this is the entry which at finally it will be posted. And in account, in vendor pay, if you go to the vendor balance, in vendor balance for this particular vendor, 15,000 will be created. Now let me show you that particular vendor balance. Okay, let me go a step back. Okay, so at here this is the vendor, right? View details. Okay, if I go to the transaction, so it will show me the complete statement of that particular vendor. Now you can see this is the invoice number and you can see the 15,000. Okay, so this is the posting of another way of invoice for the vendor, where there will be a three conceptual. So one is with the invoice register. Second one is the staging table. Staging table is nothing but, you can say, temporary table where it will be temporary on hold. And finally the invoice booking. Okay, in interview they may ask you how many different ways you can book the vendor invoice. So you can able to answer that we can book either PO based invoice, either journal based invoice, or with the help of invoice register, invoice pool, and invoice approval. Okay, with these three combination you can post the vendor invoice. Any doubt on this particular vendor invoice? If there is no doubt, then let's proceed further. So we have seen the invoice part and we have seen the purchase part. Now let's see how to post the return goods. Okay, so we have seen the purchasing, and we are done the purchase invoice. Now for example, I need to return couple of goods which I have received. or couple of service which I have received. Now I want to return it. So what is the procedure for return? Okay, so we can create return very straightforward. It's very simple. For that we will go to the purchase. Like for example, if it is a purchase order based return, then you will go to the all purchase order. Okay, at here you will click on new. Okay, and you will select the same vendor for which you need to pass the return order. Like for example, at here I am selecting the vendor as let me select V00, okay, 11. Okay, so at here I am selecting ABC company. So after selecting the ABC company, I will click on OK. So far it is straightforward how you create the purchase order. Okay, you will update site warehouse, those necessary information you will update. So after updating those, you will click on OK and the purchase order will be created. Now you are processing the return order. So for that, what you need to do, you need to go to the purchase tab on top. Okay, this is purchase order tab, this is purchase tab. In this particular tab, you can see an action called create credit note. Okay, so this is the create credit note. So we will click on create credit note. So it will display against this particular vendor how many invoices you have posted, those invoice list which will be displayed over here. Okay, like for example, now you can see there is a painkiller, it has been created. Okay, now at here you can see there is an item base, some invoice is there. So let me select this particular item base. So when I select this particular PO number and the invoiced one, okay, now you can see the line has been selected. If you want to do partial return, you can change the quantity over here. Like for example, I am changing, instead of 5000 I want to return 1000. Okay, you will update 1000 quantity over here and you will click on OK. So once you click on OK after changing the quantity, if you want to return fully, let it be like that only. If you want to return partially, you will update the partial quantity and you will click on OK. So once you click on OK, a line will be added in purchase order line with the quantity in negative figure. Let me show you that. I just clicked on OK. The line is copying from this particular PO invoice to purchase order line. Yeah. Now you can see in this particular return purchase order return order line minus 1000 quantity. Okay, we have updated from 5000 quantity. We are returning 1000 quantity. So I have modified the quantity as 1000 and the same has been updated over here. Okay, so after that we will confirm the return order. Okay, it is the same procedure how you create the purchase order, right? So only one additional step has been added, that is create credit note. Okay, that is the one additional step which has been added. Okay, Now you can see the purchase order has been posted. It's giving some sales tax. Let me remove the sales tax. We will see the sales tax conceptual later. 1 minute. Let me remove. Okay, nothing has been there. Okay. Now my purchase or my return order has been confirmed, and you will do the product receipt as you are sending back the receipt. I mean, you are sending back to the product to the vendor, so you will give the return order number, return order receipt number. Like for example, I am giving some random number. Okay, then the return order status will change to received. Okay, next concept is invoice. You will generate the invoice and you will give the return order invoice number. Okay, so at here you will give the return order invoice number. Let me copy the same product receipt number as return order invoice number. Okay, you can give the description. Okay, and you can post the transaction. Now what will happen in return order? So what will happen in return order? You have already booked the actual invoice. Let's imagine you have booked the actual invoice with expenses of this particular item, product item has been debited with 10,000 and credited the vendor with 10,000. Now when you making return, then your vendor will be with debited with 10,000 and the item purchase of expenditure of item will be created with 10,000. Okay, now if you see the voucher of this particular invoice, it takes 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, now this is one of the example. Now you can see you have posted the voucher. I mean you have posted the vendor invoice, but the voucher is not getting appear over here. Okay, the reason might be there is a sub ledger transfer. Okay, there is a one batch which you need to be in awaiting mode. So if it is not run, then it will your general batch, I mean your vouchers will not be appear. For that, what we need to do, we need to navigate to the general ledger module. Okay, in general ledger module under periodic task, okay, you can see ledger and subledger not transferred. Okay, so if you open that one, you can find a record over here which is related to purchase order which we have posted. So currently there is no record is available. It means that our batch job is running. Okay, yeah, now you can see the transaction has been appeared over here. Now you can see, if you see the vendor balance, you can see vendor balance with positive figure. It means it is debited with 1 lakh. Okay, if you see the finished good, I mean the purchase expenditure for product, let me explain this one. Let me explain this one so that you can understand. Okay, so I have opened this particular voucher in Excel so that for your easy understanding. Okay, now in this particular sheet, if you see the last two transaction, okay, this is related to budget. So there is a concept called encumbrance and pre-encumbrance. This conceptual I will tell you during the budget session. Okay, the last two lines is related to budget. You can leave that one. Okay, and at here, if you see, uh, yeah, this is these two is related to your GRN reversal. Okay, now at here you can see this is my actual uh, the green color is my actual invoice. So at here you can see my vendor balance is 1 lakh, and the raw material it's stating as 1,10,000. Okay, the reason why it's stating as 1,10,000, the reason is we have 10,000 has charges. Okay, so that was the reason additionally 10,000 is getting added. Okay, and the 1 lakh has been reduced from the bank. Any doubt? Prashant, Sri Lakshmi, Naveen, Rakesh.
No. Please explain one more, sir.
One more time, okay, no issues. So let me close this. Let me explain from the beginning. Okay, the written order concept is straightforward. It's very simple. So how you are creating the purchase order? The similar way, you will create a purchase order. One minute. Let me create one new purchase order first. Let me post that one. Then we will create the return order. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me prepare quickly one purchase order. Okay, I just created one purchase order. So at here, let me select the item. I have selected iPhone. Okay, let me see if I have created any variant. Yeah. Okay, so at here you can see I just created a one purchase order line. Okay, iPhone, and I have given the variant, and this is the site and warehouse which is I'm giving. Okay, and let me confirm this particular purchase order, and let me quickly do this particular purchase order invoice. So as we have seen yesterday, so there will be a purchase order. Initially it will be draft, then in review, then it will be moved to approve. So once it is approved, then we will confirm. After doing confirmation, we will do the product receipt. After product receipt, we will do the invoice. So the status will change according to the act what we are performing. I mean the step what we are performing. After that, the status will be updated. Okay, now at here I just created one purchase order. Let's see any sales tax group combination first. Okay, Now at here I just confirmed the purchase order. So let me post this particular, let me do the product receipt. Let me post the invoice. Okay, so before posting the invoice, let me show you the journal. So at here, both are same at here. Okay. Uh, okay. During product receipt, what will happen? My purchase approval. So there will be two ledger account which will be hitted. So at here you can see in our actual voucher, we have four different lines. Okay, so actually if you see there are two lines only, other two are getting duplicated, so it doesn't impact anything. Okay, so at here our actual expenditure is we have two vouchers. One is purchase expenditure and invoice account and purchase approval. Okay, and if you see the amount, it's 2,75,000. Okay, which is nothing but 5,000 into 55,000, which is getting debited and which is getting credited. Okay, where your purchase approval is getting debited. Sorry, I have posted yeah, where your purchase approval is getting credited and your purchase expenditure and invoice is getting debited. So during the invoice, what will happen? This particular entry will be reversed. It means that this will be debited and this will be credited. Along with that, your purchase expenditure account 2,75,000 plus vendor balance. Okay, so other than that, if you have any charges, then the charges will be added. Like charges, again it will be around, let's imagine 15,000. Okay, this 150,000 will be added to your expenditure account. Okay, now let's see how this particular entry will be posted. So without charges, we will see charges later. Now after posting my invoice, now we have seen the expenditure, right? Now let me post the invoice. Okay, now the invoice has been posted. Now if you see over here, voucher, okay, So at here you can see the raw 275, 275 and purchase accrual expect these 4 lines. If you see in this particular voucher, you remove the 4 lines separately. So if you see in this particular voucher, these 2 lines, these 2 lines. Okay, this is the reversal of your GRN, that is nothing but product receipt. Okay, so at here, this is the entry purchase expenditure for product, the green color one, this one, where your vendor is getting sorry, I have mapped wrong. This is yellow. Okay, now you can see the green line, the raw material is getting debited, which is nothing but your purchase expenditure for product, and your vendor balance is getting credited. Okay, the yellow highlighted one is nothing but your GRN entry, whatever it is there, it has been reversed, and the green color one is the actual PO invoice, and the without highlighted color one is nothing but your income budget related things. Okay, you can skip this one. So this entry is clear, your invoice entry is clear so far, right? Sri Lakshmi, Naveen, Rakesh,
Yes.
so far we are in PO. Now during the reversal, so what it should be happen, now we are doing PO reversal, which is nothing but return order. Okay, for this what we are doing, we are creating the same PO. Okay, so at here I have selected outcome, right? Let me go a step back. Okay, so I am at all purchase order form. So at here I am creating a new purchase order by clicking on new. Okay, at here I am selecting the vendors, the same vendor, that is nothing but the Goutgun 00 computer trading. Okay, previously which we have done the invoice. Now at here, after clicking OK, what will happen, my purchase order will be created. Up to this step it's clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Now previously what we are doing, we are adding the purchase order line and quantity price information we are adding over there. In return order, we will not add those information, we will directly go to the purchase tab on top. Okay, we have a create credit note, so we will click on this particular credit note. Okay, it will display all the invoices related to that particular vendor. Okay, now you can see the purchase order number 3112 which we have created, and you can see the invoice number, and you can see the value, and in line details you can see we have 5000 quantity. Okay, let's imagine I am selecting this particular purchase order line. Okay, now at here by default, when you select the line, I mean when you select this particular header, by default the line will be selected. If you click on OK, by default whatever the quantity is there, like for example if it is 5000 quantity, 5000 quantity by default it will be added in your purchase order line with negative quantity. Okay, if you want to do partially, you can modify the here quantity, that particular quantity column, this one. Well, like for example if you are if you want to return 1000 quantity, you will modify over here 1000. If you want to fully return, let it be as 5000. Okay, and you will click on OK. So once you clicked on OK, what will happen? This particular line will be copied to the purchase order line, which you have created. New purchase order is there, right? A line will be copied with quantity in negative. Now if you see, if I scroll towards my right, you can see the quantity is in negative.
Yes.
Yeah. So up to here, it's straightforward, clear, right? So if it is in draft, you will submit to the workflow, you will complete the workflow process, and the PO status will be approved. Then you will do the confirm. Okay. So once the confirmation is done, next we have product receipt. Like how you are doing in the purchase order process, you will have the, after confirmation you have product receipt, then you will do the invoice. It's same way. One additional step is nothing but the credit note, only it has been added. Rest all the process is same. Okay. So at here we have enabled some email triggeration to the respective vendor. Okay. Now next we need to do the product receipt. So let me do the product receipt. Okay. Now in product receipt, what will happen? Let me show you that. Okay. Now you can see previously when I do the product receipt, what will happen? This is the entry which is happening. So when I'm doing the product receipt over here, this time my purchase accrual is getting debited and purchase expenditure and invoice account is getting credited. If you want, I can show you. See, your purchase accrual is getting on left, its amount starting on left side, so it is means the debit. Okay. Purchase expenditure and invoice, it is on right side, it means it is a credit. Okay. Now sorry, now let me do the invoice. So when I generate the invoice, so I need to update the credit tax invoice number. Okay. So the credit tax invoice number, which can be provided by the vendor to you. So you can update that credit tax invoice number in the invoice number field. Okay. So I just given some random number, and you will click on post. So once you click on post, your credit note will be posted. Okay. Credit note will be posted in the sense your return order process has been completed. Okay, now this transaction has been posted. Now let me open the invoice or voucher.
Wow.
Okay, let me open this particular voucher. Let me copy this one. Okay. Now in another tab we have already placed over here, right? So let me paste over here. Yeah, now if you see, now if you compare, this is my actual invoice and this is my credit note. Okay, now you can see previously my accounts payable, which is nothing but vendor, has been created with minus 275. If you see in this particular return order, my vendor is getting debited with 275, which means it is getting reversed, and the balance of that particular vendor is getting 0. right?
Yes.
If you see whatever account it has been written on top, the same account has been posted with invert sign. I mean reverse sign of that particular transaction. So it means that whatever the transaction we have posted, the net impact of this particular transaction is 0. Okay. So this is the reversal. You can say this is the credit note of the transaction.
Sir, why the credit value is always Hi, sir.
Yeah, you're asking something.
Yeah, why the credit value is always shown in negative amount?
Uh, that is the golden rule. As you can see, your debit will be entered on your left side, on your credit will be entered on your right side. Okay, and the formula is debit minus credit always. So if the credit balance is high, then by default it will show in negative figures. Okay, now we have seen the invoice. We have seen different ways of. So far, we have seen in the AP module, we have seen the different ways of doing the invoice, and we have seen the credit note. We have seen the purchase order. Okay, now if in case if you want to do reversal of the AP invoice during the invoice journal, so how we can do that?
Gautam, have you shared your screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing. I'm sharing.
Sure. Thanks.
I have shared now.
So, wherever the amount we will see in negative, it is the credit amount,
Yeah,
right?
it's a credit column amount. For more
Okay, sir.
information, you can do at here. When you click on instead of clicking on voucher, you can see view accounting is there, right? If you click on view accounting, this will also will display the same thing. Okay, what is my debit value? What is in my credit value? Okay, but this will you confuse a little bit more in view accounting. You should be focus on more originality. If you know the core conceptual of accounting, then you can understand very quickly. Otherwise, you will not. Okay, so we have seen the return order with the help of purchase order. Now, for example, there are some service based invoices which we are booking directly through the invoice journal. So how we can book the reversal of those invoice journal with the help of invoice journal? How we can book the return for them? Okay, it's straightforward, simple. For that, okay, we will go to the invoice journal. Okay, in this particular invoice journal, instead of entering the credit amount, we will enter the amount in debit. Okay, to post the reversal, as we have posted yesterday couple of transactions, right? Like for example, Let's see if I have posted any transaction. Okay, like for example, yesterday I have posted one transaction. If you see the voucher of this particular transaction, okay, my office supplier is getting debited and my accounts payable is getting credited. Okay, so if I do the transaction of credit note for this particular invoice, then what I will do, okay, uh, I will create a new journal. Okay, I will select AP invoice. I will go to the lines. Okay, so at here I will select the same vendor, that is Gautgan. Okay, and at here I will update the debit amount as 5000. Okay, when I enter over here debit amount has 5000, if you see my left side I have selected the vendor, so at here the vendor will be debited and my offset account I will select. Sorry, office supplier account. Okay, and if I post this particular transaction, now my journal entry will be reversed. Okay, so let me post this particular entry. Okay, so if I'm posting so if I'm posting this particular entry, you can see there is a error message. So what it's stating over here, the invoice number is not filled in. So if you see, I have not updated the return order invoice number. Okay, now let me post the transaction. Okay, now if you see the voucher of this particular transaction, okay, now you can see your expense is getting debited and your vendor is getting debited. Usually when we book our AP invoice, I mean vendor based invoice, your expense will debit and vendor balance will be credit. Now when you are doing the reversal of that particular invoice, then expense will be credited and vendor will be debited. Reversal. Okay, so other than that we have another feature called reverse entire journal. Okay, so what it will do, if you want to reverse this complete journal, you need to enable as yes and you need to update the comments like wrongly posted, and you will click on reverse. So once you click on reverse, so what will happen, the entry what you have created, it will be reversed. Now you can see reversed, the voucher transaction with the invoice number has been reversed with 5000. Now if I go back, okay, let me refresh. 1 minute, there should be a journal which it should be created. Okay, let me investigate why this journal is not created. So when you click on this reverse entire journal, so what it will do, it will reverse the entire journal and it will create a new journal over here for the reversal of this particular journal. So this particular reversal journal is not created. Let me check why it is not created. Okay, so if you want to reverse the entire journal, you can do that by clicking on lines, and you have reverse entire journal, and you will provide the if you want to reverse on same date, so you will make it as yes. If it is no, you will update the reversal date and comments, and you will click on reverse. So once you click on reverse, another journal batch will be created. Has been reversed. Okay, but the reversal has been getting posted, but the journal batch is not getting created. We need to check with this new feature why it is not enabled. I mean why it is not working. Okay, so let me investigate why this is not working, this particular new feature. Okay, then I will tell you what was the root cause for that. Okay, so other than that, we have pending with payments. So we will see different type of payments and how this payment method is utilized inside the vendor payment. Okay, so we will see in tomorrow session how we can utilize the payments. So there are around 4 to 5 payment methods which commonly utilize inside the Dynamics. Other than that, we have the payment integrations which can be integrated with your bank. Okay, so that is completely based on integration part. So how you want to work it, I can give you the glimpse how it will work. Currently I don't have the supporting document for that, so that I can showcase you. Okay, if you have any doubt on today's session, you can raise it.
No, sir.
Okay, then we will stop up to here, and we will see more in detail tomorrow about the payments and reports in accounts payable. Okay,
Okay.
enjoy the weekend.